Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sandry's Garage. I am Sandry, and today we are going to be going over something that everyone does not like to see. Let's say you're getting ready to go somewhere, get in your car, you're all excited to leave, maybe going to see some friends. Go ahead and start up your car, and you notice the light of death and despair. Yes, the check engine light is on. Now in Toyotas, normally this means it has something to do with emissions. I've seen this all the time. Every time I get a check engine light with a Toyota, the VSC light comes on, which has nothing to do with anything about the emission system, but that always comes on for some reason when there's an emissions problem. But hang on. You're probably thinking, oh, that's gonna cost at least $500 at the dealership. And this is where I'm going to prove you wrong. First and foremost, don't need the car on. What you're going to need is one of these, an OBD Link MX Plus. You can also get Blue Driver. It's a Bluetooth OBD to scan it. If you don't want to drop $100 on these, that's fine. You can take it to your local AutoZone, Advanced Auto, whatever it you have, and they'll go check the codes for you. So now that we have our OBD, whoa, too dark. Now that we have our Bluetooth OBD scanner, or at AutoZone, they're going to be looking for what's called the OBD2 port, which on most vehicles is going to be underneath the driver's side of the dash. As you can see, mine is right there. And on most Toyotas, it's going to be like that. On Honda, it's like really far underneath up there. Like you really got to stick your head on your floor mat to go to see it. And other cars, primarily Volkswagen, Audis, they have like a little door or something. That's just a weird compartment, but normally there's like a little flap here where you can just stick it in easily. But for me, it's right there, right underneath the dash. So we get that orientation lined up, and go ahead and plug her on in. Make sure she's in nice and tight, like that. Okay, now that that's good to go, we come back up to our dash here. Get in the car. Sometimes you gotta turn your car on, but for me, just gotta put it into the on position. Wait for the dinging to stop. Connect. That's fine. Hit connect. It's gonna take a little bit of time, do its thing. You know how it do. Alright, now that we're here, we're gonna go into diagnostics. Hello. There we go. Generic OBD2, that's all we need. It's gonna be reading for codes. And there you go, there's our problem code. A P0037. And you can tap on that. You can see it's a heater control circuit low. What does that mean? Well, you can tap online lookup. Go ahead and shut my car off here. Don't need to kill the environment while we're looking up a code. And it should tell you, focus, hello. Or not. Or just don't focus. Anyways, let's move out a bit, huh? Maybe? Yeah, okay. There we can see it says powertrain fuel air metering. So it has to do something with emissions. And you can see here, that's probably, yeah, I know. We know, the car's off and disconnected. Heated oxygen sensor, bank 1, sensor 2. So post edit here, I recognize I failed to explain what the different numbers mean. So bank 1, for me, on a lateral mounted V6, is the front bank. The bank of cylinders that's in front, like right next to the radiator in front of the car. And then bank 2 is the bank of cylinders that's closest to the firewall. And then obviously sensor 1 is pre-catalytic converter, and sensor 2 is post-catalytic converter. This next clip here shows you more in detail of what I mean by using Rock Auto. So yeah, watch that clip. And if you don't believe me, just ask my dogs. Turns out they don't know much about cars as I do. Right, Gracie? Right. Anyways, we can go to my favorite place to get auto parts, and that is rockauto.com. Right, so now we're here in Rock Auto. I highly recommend. They have the fastest shipping. Even though they say it could take 5 days for a part to get here, it usually takes 3. Their shipping speeds are phenomenally good. And the other reason is they have parts for cheap. My best thing to look at to prove this point is to go to your wiper blades, right? I dare you right now to go into your local auto parts store, whatever it may be, Advanced Auto, AutoZone, whatever. Go look at some premium / standard beam blades for your wiper blades. I can tell you right now that the Bosch, not Evolution, did I pass it? Probably. Not Bosch Focus. Bosch Evolution, no, not that. There it is. Up there, there it is. Bosch Clear Advantage. $4.79 and $4.81 for my driver's side and passenger side wiper blade. Granted, I can't get a rear wiper blade off Rock Auto. That I have to go in the store for. That's okay. But for the price of half a wiper blade in store, plus shipping, so it's really going to be the equivalent of 1 wiper blade in store, I can get 2. And they come out in like 2 days. Anyways, now that that tangent's done, we're going to go and look at exhaust and emission. We know we need an O2 sensor, but how do we know which one we want? Well, sometimes it'll tell you. From what I've read online, Denso's okay. You don't want Bosch, because apparently Bosch is terrible. They don't last very long, apparently. NTK is supposed to be like the top of the top when it comes to aftermarket parts / third-party parts. So we can see here we have downstream front. That's bank 2, sensor 2. So that's after the catalytic converter in the front. It tells me right here. I'm looking for bank 1, sensor 2. Boom, right there. And if you're not sure if it's right or not, you can always click info, and chances are Rock Auto will have the product's information, a better picture here, some things that the manufacturer of the part puts out, like what it's supposed to do, what they're about, the features of it. And then Rock Auto will give you some generic things, like how do you know which sensor you actually need? So take a look, pause the video right here, in case you're having a similar problem. Let's say you have a 4 or 6 cylinder that's in line, and you're getting the call for a bank 2 or a bank 1 sensor 2. So you can go 3, it's going to be a left / front upstream sensor. That's going to be what the call is for. So bank, as I said before, bank 2 is usually the front, sensor 1 is before the catalytic converter, sensor 2 is after. And sometimes there's a third set of oxygen sensors. I've never seen them though. They're usually before and after the catalytic converters, before the white pipe, like on my car. Anyways, so just pause the video, take a look at this table, and figure out what you need if you're having the same problem as I am with an O2 sensor. Right, so now that you've done that, we're going to go back and we can add it to our cart. Which one was it? NTK Bank 1, Sensor 2. Yep, that's what I need. Added cart, and after some estimated shipping, we can see that we have different shipping methods. We have cheapest to fastest. So the cheapest is FedEx Ground, and it says Tuesday, November 24th. But I guarantee you, today's Thursday, if I place this order right now before 5 o'clock, FedEx and Rock Auto, I don't know how they do it, they usually get it out to me within 3 days or less. So I'll have this part either Saturday or Monday. And it's actually not this date. I could get it from DHL and have it guaranteed Monday or earlier, or I could pay a premium to get it tomorrow morning by 9:30 a.m. But that's not worth it. If I have a $75 part and I only have to pay $90 just to get the part, and that, hey man, I'm going cheap. Because that's what I'm all about. I'm trying to save me and y'all some money by showing you how to do this on your own. I guarantee you that your local mechanic or your dealership is probably going to charge somewhere upwards of $300, $500 just because of labor. You can save $400 by doing this yourself. Anyways, let's get back to fixing the car. Alright, now you've got your part from rockauto.com, and here's the package. Don't need any of this stuff. Who cares about the packing slip? This is what we're after. Our NDK oxygen sensor. We'll set that aside, and we're going to admire these cool magnets that we get from Rock Auto. Gracie has a collection. Shall we go show the viewers your collection, Gracie? I think we shall. To the garage! Alright, back in the garage, and here it is. Gracie's Rock Auto collection. We're just gonna add this. Try to make it look symmetrical. Perfect. And this is a great transition into some other things we're gonna need. So NDK in their instructions tell us that their sensor sometimes comes with anti-seize pre-applied to the sensor. And there is a little protector around the threads right there. You can see it looks like there's stuff on the threads already, but it doesn't hurt to run out to your local auto parts store and pick up a small packet of some anti-seize just to be sure. The other thing you're gonna need is an O2 sensor socket. You can also use an open end wrench, adjustable crescent wrench, what have you. But this will make sure that you don't actually strip or round off the bolt head of the O2 sensor. The other thing about our O2 sensor, we want to be very careful with it. There's a lot of fine wires in the tip here. We don't want to be smashing it about or just haphazardly throwing it about the garage or anything like that. We want to be careful so we don't waste money again because we accidentally broke our new part. We don't want to do that. So now we have our parts. We can go ahead and start jacking up the car. Now when we jack up a car, you can use like a floor jack, but in my case, I don't have anywhere good around the garage to keep such a big thing. So I have a 3-ton bottle jack. Now the problem with bottle jacks is that they just have this one small point. Well, that's okay if you have like a truck frame, body on frame car. However, most of us are gonna have a unibody car like this car right here. So we have pinch welds where you could put our jack that the manufacturer gives us. You could do that to jack your car up and put your jack stands on those pinch welds. Or you can find a good sturdy engine mount like that one right there and take a piece of wood, put that on top of your bottle jack. You can see I've done this a few times where the jack's already put an impression into the piece of wood, and jack your car up, distributing the load of the jack across that engine frame. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Right, now the big thing is when you jack up a car and you put it on jack stands, it's always a good idea to have some redundancy. Here I have two. I have my car jack which is what I used to get my car up in the first place. And then I had my ball jack supporting the subframe to the engine right there, lightly holding it. So most of the weight is being held on by the jacks, but let's say one of these two fail. If that one fails, worst case scenario, it just heaters a little bit because I have a center support there. If this one fails, it's going to go directly onto that one, which is just a little bit off. It's still holding a little bit of weight of the car, so it's not going to drop that much. So, with that, let's transition into some other parts, or not parts, tools that I'm going to be using today. So it's a good idea to have some pliers, some vice grips, a screwdriver. I like my multi-tool here. It's got a nice handle to it. Some vice grips, as I said. And optionally, see if I can find it in this mess of a drawer here. There we go. Some trim removal pliers to aid in removing some clips for the wiring harness of the sensor. So now we have these tools, let's go underneath the car and start changing out the sensor. And it's time for some sloppy camera work on my behalf. But as you can see, there's the exhaust pipe right there coming from the front bank down to the Y pipe, and there's a catalytic converter right here. And there is the second catalytic converter coming down from the back bank. And this is the big one, sensor 2, O2 sensor. So first off, what we have to do is we got to follow the wiring harness down. You can see I have a clip right there, and a zip tie, which right there, which we're gonna have to replace, and the connector is right there. There's probably another one. Oh, right. I can see it. Maybe you can't. Right where my light is shining, right there. So we gotta remove the wiring harness first, unclip that. My new sensor does come with the new clips, so we can kindly say yeet and goodbye to these old clips. Alright, so this first clip came out really easily, so we know that was bad. And this second clip right here, not sure how well that's in focus. Let's see if I can get some light on the subject here. I don't know if you can see that right now. That's terrible camera work on my part. But all you gotta do is pinch the sides of that, like so, and it should just pop on out. Switch hands here, right-handed. Almost had it there. You can also use some pliers or a screwdriver to help you out here. I don't have a tripod or anything. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Not easy. And then we gotta cut. Whoa, you can't even see anything. There we go, that's better. And then we gotta cut that zip tie right there, and we'll replace that later. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so I got those two clips out, as you can see. We are ready to remove this connector. In order to do so, what we have to do is we gotta drop that clip right there, which is a little bit hard to do. So what you can do is you can use wire cutters or screwdriver. I'm just gonna sneak in here with my trim removal tools here, pop it out, and then disconnect it with this little button right here. Push that in, and you pull this connector out and that connector out. Hopefully that should work, but I'm probably gonna get rid of the zip tie anyways, which I'm not too happy about doing, but hey, I gotta do what I gotta do, you know. So, see you on the other side of getting this out. And just like that, we have our O2 sensor disconnected. Now all we have to do is unscrew that. And to do that, you can use an open socket wrench or that socket right there. Now this is a specialty socket. It's 21 millimeters, which is the size of the nut flange there. And it's got a little opening in the side to go over the wire and then slide on to the sensor just like that. And then you take your wrench, in this case it's going to be a 1/2 inch drive ratchet and unscrew it. So let's go ahead and get that done like that. Now another good thing to use, especially on your exhaust where everything rusts easily, is some penetrating lubricant. In my case, my favorite is Seafoam Deep Creep, proven by Mr. Project Farm to be one of the better penetrating oils on the market. So we're just going to take this, put a few shots into around the nut there, let it soak in a little bit. You can see it moving in, and that should help release the bolt. This is what I had to do. There's a little hook right there, which I threw a ratchet strap through. Threw my O2 sensor socket onto that O2 sensor and threaded the ratchet strap through the end of a breaker bar. Put the breaker bar onto the O2 sensor and just cranked her on down until she was loose. And now I can get in there with my open-end spanner and loosen her up. And just like that, she's out. Wow, that was not fun. I don't want to do that again. Right, so now what we have to do, our hands are all oily and dirty, so we're probably going to put on some gloves to protect the front end. Remember, we don't want to contaminate the front end of our new sensor, or else we could have a bad reading and another faulty sensor, which is exactly what we don't want. So, we also got to take off that little plastic guard and squeeze just a tiny bit. You don't need a lot, just a little bit of anti-seize around those threads. Get her in, torque her down, put the new clips in, zip tie her up, and plug her back in, start her up, clear that code, and see what happens. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend you go onto Rock Auto and get one. A Haynes or Chilton repair manual for your specific vehicle, because it has torque specs and instructions on how to fix practically everything in your car, from the interior to even rebuilding your engine, which I don't know why you do that, but you can if you have one of these. So with that, let's look at our torque specs here for O2 sensors. So torque specifications, focus, there we go. It gives you a nice little note about conversion to inch pounds. So we have Nonic sensor, we don't care about that. Oxygen sensors right there. We can see it's in the foot-pounds column. We're looking for 35 foot-pounds, and if you're in Europe doing this, it's 44 Newton meters. So, 35 foot-pounds. We'll break out our torque wrench using our socket and torque her down properly. So let's go ahead, glove up, squeeze just, it's just a tiny ooze of anti-seize onto what is probably already there from NTK's factory, and go ahead and install her in. Alright, and as you can see, there's a little bit of anti-seize on this thread right from the factory. So we're just going to open up our anti-seize packet just like that. And using the packet, squeeze out just a tiny bit. You can see I'm gloved up. I don't want to get the brand new sensor contaminated. That's all we need, is just that little goob right there. Take our pinky and go ahead and move this around the threads. Be careful not to get it onto the sensor itself. Just make sure you cover it nice and evenly. Get that washer a bit too, because that mating surface is a bit rusty as well. Just want to make sure you get it all around those threads. Perfect. Don't need a lot. There's still plenty in that packet. So if you're replacing all 6 sensors, you have plenty just from one packet. You don't need an entire bottle. As you can see, we got the new one in, torqued down to 35 foot-pounds. We have our, well, let's get some backlighting on these clips here. Our new clips, one right there. on right. Well, there. We replaced the zip tie that we cut so we could replace this thing, and then we have that clipped back in. So now we're ready to drop the vehicle, start her up, clear the code, and see if she comes back. So yeah, let's go do that. Alright, diagnostics. Select dog, because why the hell not? Select historical codes. It's gonna read them all. No trouble codes are detected. No trouble codes are detected. Alright. So we're gonna tap this one. Oop. Confirmed. Okay. I don't know if you're gonna do it here. Menu. Clear trouble codes. Select all. Continue. Yes. Yes. So that's just saying, hey, this is gonna clear all of them. So we're gonna do that. That. Reading. No trouble codes are detected. We look up here. And there is no check engine light. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to take my car on a quick spin around the block and see if that check engine light comes back on. Alright. As you can see, it is 2:27 on a nice 15-minute drive around my neighborhood. No check engine light. Got the car nice and warmed up, battery nice and charged up as well. You can see that per the engine coolant temperature and that. And wow, guys, I'm not sure if you noticed that, but the fuel rate before, I was idling at around 0.5 gallons per hour. It's now down to 0.36. So I actually am saving a bit of fuel. That just goes to show you can drive around with a bad O2 sensor, but it's going to cost you a little bit in your fuel mileage. Now, if we go back and we go into the diagnostic screen again, and if we go to trouble codes, and we refresh, look for trouble codes, even pull up historical because we should have cleared that as well. It's going to look for some. Hopefully I won't find any. No trouble codes are detected, and the check engine light should be off, and as we can see, it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that is how you check your check engine light on your own and you replace an O2 sensor on your 2006 Highlander. And you can apply what I taught you here to anything, any other car even. So with that, guys, I am Sandry, and thank you for visiting my garage. Stay greasy, my friends.